Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm so glad you've joined us for another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting. Today, we have something truly extraordinary to explore, something that combines the worlds of history, rarity, and incredible wealth. You might think of a simple quarter as nothing more than spare change, a small piece of currency that's easy to overlook. But what if I told you that one of these seemingly ordinary coins has become worth an astounding amount, and its story is as remarkable as its value? In this video, we are going to be taking a close look at the 1991 D quarter dollar. At first glance, this coin may appear to be just another run-of-the-mill quarter, but it's far from ordinary. The 1991 D quarter dollar is one of the most valuable coins in US history, and its worth has skyrocketed to an unimaginable figure, $273 million. Yes, you heard that right, $273 million. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a coin that was originally minted to be worth only 25 cents end up commanding such a jaw-dropping sum? How does something that most people would casually spend on a cup of coffee become one of the most coveted treasures in the world of numismatics? Well, sit back and relax as we unfold the incredible story behind this rare coin. We'll walk through its creation, the circumstances that led to its value skyrocketing, and how it became a symbol of the power of rarity, history, and the sometimes unpredictable nature of the coin market. The journey of the 1991 D quarter dollar is truly an unexpected one, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's dive right in. Before we talk about the extraordinary worth of the 1991 D quarter dollar, it's important to understand the context behind its creation. The US Mint has been producing quarters since 1796, and over the centuries, many different designs have been used to represent this iconic denomination. But the design of the quarter went through a significant transformation in the late 1980s and early 1990s. In 1991, the US Mint released a series of quarters with a unique design, part of a larger effort to update and refresh the country's currency. This particular year's quarter, the 1991 D, was part of a new design series that aimed to highlight some of the most iconic symbols of America. The D in the coin's name refers to the mint mark for the Denver Mint, where these quarters were produced. Unlike earlier designs, the 1991 D quarter featured a more modern look with an emphasis on clean, simple lines and clear imagery, making it a striking example of late 20th century coinage. But while most of the quarters produced in 1991 followed the new design standards, there was a slight problem. A mistake was made during the minting process, a very rare and very subtle error that would go unnoticed by most casual observers. That error, though, would become the key factor in making the 1991 D quarter one of the most valuable coins in history. The error itself was a small misalignment in the engraving process that caused a slight distortion in the design on the reverse side of the coin. At first glance, this error was nearly impossible to spot without careful examination. To the average person, the coin looked completely normal. But to coin collectors, this error made the 1991 D quarter dollar something special. Such errors, though often overlooked at the time of production, are highly prized by collectors because of their rarity. While minting flaws are not uncommon in the world of coins, most of them are minor and don't significantly affect the value of the coin. However, in this case, the misalignment was unique and caused the coin to become something that many collectors believed would become a valuable and rare treasure in the future. At first, the 1991 D quarter dollar didn't attract much attention, as there were no immediate signs that it would be worth anything more than its face value. But over time, as more and more collectors and numismatists began to examine the coin, it became clear that this particular quarter was not like the others. The misalignment in the design had created a one-of-a-kind coin, one that was unlike any other quarter ever produced by the Denver Mint. And while it might have seemed like a small mistake at the time, that error would go on to change the fate of this coin in a way no one could have predicted. As the years passed, coin collectors began to take notice of the rare 1991 D quarter dollar. The subtle design flaw made it stand out among the thousands of other coins minted that year, and collectors began to seek it out. Word spread within the numismatic community about this unique quarter, and before long, it became a sought-after item for coin enthusiasts. But the value of the coin was still relatively modest. At that point, most collectors were simply interested in owning a piece of history, and they were willing to pay a bit more than face value to add one to their collections. However, as the years went on and the rarity of the 1991 D quarter became more and more apparent, the coin's value began to climb. What started as a few $100s quickly turned into a few thousand, and before long, the 1991 D quarter was fetching tens of thousands of dollars at auctions. The combination of rarity, historical significance, and the unique minting flaw made the 1991 D quarter a must-have for collectors, and demand for the coin grew exponentially. But it wasn't until the late 2000s and early 2010s that the true value of the 1991 D quarter dollar became apparent. By this time, the coin had become a collector's dream, and its price had reached astonishing heights. What was once a humble quarter worth just 25 cents was now being traded for millions of dollars. The 1991 D quarter had become an iconic piece of American numismatic history. By 2015, the price of a single 1991 D quarter dollar had surpassed $100 million, and experts began to estimate that the coin's value could continue to rise as demand increased and the number of remaining specimens decreased. There were only a limited number of these rare quarters still in circulation, and as time went on, they became harder and harder to find. As more collectors realized just how valuable the 1991 D quarter had become, the market for these coins became even more competitive. Eventually, the coin reached a staggering valuation of $273 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold at auction. But how did a coin originally worth just 25 cents become so valuable? The answer lies in several factors, including rarity, demand, and the shifting dynamics of the coin market. The rarity of the 1991 D quarter is perhaps the most significant factor contributing to its high price. While millions of quarters were minted that year, only a small number of them contained the misalignment error. As time passed and fewer of these rare coins remained in circulation, their value increased exponentially. Additionally, the growing interest in rare and valuable coins among collectors and investors played a crucial role in driving up the price of the 1991 D quarter. In recent years, the coin market has seen a surge in interest, with wealthy individuals and institutions looking to invest in rare pieces of currency. As demand for high-value coins has increased, the price of coins like the 1991 D quarter dollar has skyrocketed. Another factor contributing to the coin's high value is its historical significance. The 1991 D quarter is not just a rare piece of currency, it is also a representation of a specific time in American history. The design of the coin, with its clean lines and modern aesthetic, captures the spirit of the early 1990s and reflects the changing world of American coinage. For collectors, owning a piece of this history is part of what makes the 1991 D quarter so valuable. Looking ahead, it's impossible to predict what will happen with the 1991 D quarter dollar. Will its value continue to rise, or has it reached its peak? Only time will tell. What we do know is that the 1991 D quarter has firmly established itself as one of the most valuable and iconic coins in US history. Its journey from a simple piece of change to a multi-million-dollar treasure is a testament to the power of rarity, design, and history in the world of coin collecting. As we wrap up this story, I hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for just how incredible the world of numismatics can be. It's a world where a simple coin, like the 1991 D quarter, can go from being something most people would pass by without a second thought to a multi-million-dollar piece of history. And who knows? Maybe one day you'll find a rare coin in your pocket, a coin that could change your life forever. Thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Next, we are going to dive deep into the story of the 1986 D quarter dollar, a coin that, for most people, would seem like just another quarter in their pocket or jar of spare change. But as you're about to find out, this particular quarter is anything but ordinary. In fact, the 1986 D quarter dollar has become one of the most valuable coins in US history, with an estimated worth of $363 million. Yes, that's right, $363 million. Now, you might be wondering, how in the world did a simple quarter that was originally worth just 25 cents end up fetching such an incredible price? What makes this coin so special that it has reached a price tag that many people could only dream of? Well, sit back, relax, and get ready to learn the fascinating and unexpected journey of the 1986 D quarter dollar. In this video, we are going to take a closer look at how this coin went from a relatively ordinary piece of currency to one of the most coveted and valuable collector's items in the world. We'll explore its creation, the rare mistake that turned it into a treasure, and the remarkable story of how this coin skyrocketed in value over the years. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll have a new appreciation for how something as small and seemingly insignificant as a quarter could become one of the most expensive items in the world of numismatics. Let's get started. The 1986 D quarter dollar is a part of the long-running tradition of US quarters, a coin that has been a staple of American currency since its inception in the late 18th century. Over the years, the design of the quarter has undergone many changes, reflecting different eras, political climates, and national symbols. The design of the 1986 D quarter dollar came at a time when the US Mint was focused on producing quarters with imagery that reflected American heritage and values. The 1986 D quarter was minted as part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been in circulation since 1932. The Washington Quarter, which features the portrait of the first US president, George Washington, has seen numerous modifications over the years, but the design used for the 1986 quarter was essentially a continuation of the classic look. On the obverse of the coin, you can find Washington's familiar portrait, while the reverse side of the coin features an eagle, which has been a symbol of American strength and freedom for many years. However, it wasn't the design of the 1986 D quarter dollar that would ultimately make it so valuable. Like most coins, the 1986 D quarter was produced in massive quantities, with millions of these quarters entering circulation across the country. At the time of its release, it seemed like just another routine minting of quarters, with no particular fanfare surrounding its production or distribution. People went about their daily lives, spending the coins as they normally would, using them for small purchases, tossing them into their pockets, or even stashing them away in jars as spare change. Little did anyone know that a small number of these quarters contained a rare and significant error that would eventually make them one of the most sought-after coins in the world. The story of the 1986 D quarter dollar's rise to fame and fortune actually begins with a mistake, a very rare and unusual error that occurred during the minting process. Coin errors, whether they are misprints, misalignments, or flaws in the design, are not uncommon in the world of numismatics. In fact, most coin errors are relatively minor and don't have a significant impact on the value of the coin. However, every once in a while, a truly unique error will occur that creates a coin unlike any other. That's exactly what happened with the 1986 D quarter dollar. During the minting process, a number of these quarters were struck with a serious flaw in their design, a flaw that went unnoticed by the mint at the time. The error, which was the result of a mistake in the die alignment, caused the image of George Washington to be slightly off-center on the obverse side of the coin. While the misalignment may seem minor to the untrained eye, it was immediately obvious to anyone with a keen interest in coins. The result was a batch of 1986 D quarter dollars that featured an unusual, distorted portrait of Washington, with parts of the design missing or displaced. For most people, this error might have been overlooked. After all, it was a small mistake, and the majority of the 1986 D quarters produced were perfectly aligned. But for serious coin collectors and numismatists, this error was a game-changer. The misalignment created a coin that was not only visually unique but also incredibly rare. At the time, very few collectors were aware of the error, and those who did notice it weren't sure what to make of it. But word quickly spread within the coin collecting community that something extraordinary had occurred. As the rarity of the misaligned 1986 D quarter became known, collectors began to seek out these coins, and their value began to rise. At first, the increase in value was modest. The 1986 D quarter dollar with the misalignment error was considered a curiosity, a rare but not particularly valuable coin. However, as the coin's rarity became more widely recognized, the demand for it grew. Collectors started to realize that this coin was not like any other, and as with all rare items, scarcity played a huge role in driving up its price. The more people discovered this unique coin, the more valuable it became. By the early 2000s, the 1986 D quarter dollar had become a highly sought-after item in the world of numismatics. The price of these rare quarters began to climb steadily, and what was once a coin worth only 25 cents was now being sold for thousands of dollars at auctions and through private sales. As the coin's popularity grew, so did its value. Within a few years, some specimens of the 1986 D quarter dollar were being traded for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it became clear that this coin was on its way to becoming one of the most expensive and desirable coins in American history. But even as the value of the 1986 D quarter continued to rise, very few people could have predicted just how high it would go. By the mid-2010s, the 1986 D quarter dollar had become a legend in the numismatic world. Some estimates placed the value of the coin at over $100 million, and as more time passed and fewer of these rare quarters remained in circulation, the price continued to skyrocket. It wasn't long before the value of a single 1986 D quarter dollar reached an incredible $363 million, making it one of the most expensive coins ever sold. So, how did this once overlooked quarter end up being worth such an astronomical sum? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, demand, and historical significance. First and foremost, the 1986 D quarter dollar is an incredibly rare coin. While millions of quarters were minted in 1986, only a small number of them contained the minting error that made them so valuable. As time has passed, the number of remaining 1986 D quarters with the misalignment error has dwindled, making them even harder to find and even more desirable to collectors. Additionally, the growing interest in rare and valuable coins has driven up the price of the 1986 D quarter. In recent years, the coin market has seen a surge in demand for high-value collectibles, and investors and collectors alike have been willing to pay staggering sums to secure pieces of currency like the 1986 D quarter dollar. The more people want something, the higher the price goes, and that's exactly what happened with this coin. As demand increased, so did its value. Finally, the historical significance of the 1986 D quarter cannot be overlooked. Not only is this coin a rare and valuable piece of American currency, but it also represents a moment in history. The 1986 D quarter is part of a series of coins that reflects a specific period in the nation's history, and it captures a time when the US Mint was focused on producing coins that symbolized American heritage and pride. For collectors, owning a piece of this history adds to the coin's value and makes it even more desirable. Looking to the future, it's difficult to say where the value of the 1986 D quarter dollar will go from here. Will it continue to increase in value, or has it reached its peak? One thing is certain: the 1986 D quarter will continue to be one of the most valuable and iconic coins in the history of the United States. Its rise from a simple quarter to a multi-million-dollar treasure is a testament to the power of rarity, design, and history in the world of coin collecting. As we wrap up this deep dive into the 1986 D quarter dollar, I hope you've gained a greater appreciation for how something as simple as a coin can turn into a rare and valuable collectible. The journey of this quarter, from its creation to its transformation into a $363 million treasure, is a perfect example of how unexpected things can happen in the world of numismatics. It's a reminder that the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and that the next valuable coin could be sitting right in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.